So if you've been following the beautiful community this month, you know that we're talking about Jesus as our rescuer. And we can't talk about that and not share a little bit of our personal stories of how we came to know Jesus as our rescuer. So for me, as a little girl, I grew up in church. I loved the idea of Jesus. But starting about 11 years old, we quit going to church. And middle school and high school, not the best time to quit going to church, but we did. And when I was 14, we were overseas and just some really rough stuff happened to me. And when I came back from that, it changed the way that I saw everything. I just hated myself. I really hated myself. And I got caught up in all kinds of eating disorders and all kinds of craziness. But on the outside, I looked like I had everything together. I was a perfectionist, so I still had perfect grades. I still got scholarships to multiple colleges, things like that. But on the inside, I was slowly losing my grip. I was slowly withering away. And as I got into college, a lot of times I would cope with binge drinking on the weekends with my friends. And when I got into college, that only got worse. And then after about my first year of university, my mom heard about this Christian women's conference in our city. And she was begging me to go with her and kind of driving me crazy about it. But I was supposed to go to Gainesville that weekend. I had a really good friend that went to school there, and she wasn't much of a partier, but I was, and I thought that would be super fun to go party with her in Gainesville. And so my mom finally convinced me, okay, the conference starts Thursday night, come with me Thursday night, then you can leave for Gainesville if you still want to. So I did. And let's just say that everything changed. I walked in the back of this church, kicking and screaming, did not want to be there. And it was like I walked into the love of God. That's the only way I know how to use words to describe something that was so surreal and supernatural at the time. And there was like this battle within me. There was this part of me that just wanted to get out of that building. And there was this other part of me that was completely overwhelmed and captivated. And I remember sitting as far back in the church as I could get, and I was crying throughout this service, and my heart was just pounding and pounding. And I don't even remember everything the woman preached that night. It was a woman named Marty Duke who actually ended up having a massive influence on me in my early years walking with Jesus. But that night, I didn't really know who she was, and at the end, she did a call for prayer, like if you wanted to come front for prayer. And by now, I'm like, just get me out of here, because this tension within me between what I had always known and just going back to life as I knew it, which I don't know why I wanted to go back to so bad, because I was full of all kinds of mess and hurt and brokenness, but it was what I knew at least. This felt completely uncomfortable and out of my control, and I didn't know where it would lead. So I remember sitting back there and I said, okay, God, if you're real, then send my friend Elizabeth here. And if she comes to me and asks me to go down front for prayer, then I'll give you my life forever. That's really what I said. But I thought I was in the clear because I had not seen Elizabeth in years. And the last time I saw Elizabeth, she and I were both having a good time at a party. So I had no reason to think that she would be in a church. And she wasn't in this church as far as I knew up until that point. So about 20 minutes passes, I'm sitting there in my seat like, okay, I'm leaving here. And then all of a sudden I feel these arms come around me from behind. And this person right here in my ear says, hey Court, it's Elizabeth. If you want to go down there for prayer, I'll go with you. I was like, are you kidding me? What in the world? I am telling you, Jesus rescued me that night. Her side of the story, she had heard about the conference, she was driving home from work, something just told her she had to turn around and come. Even though it was 9:30 at night, she walks in the back of that church, looks over and thinks, is that Courtenay Chastain, which was my maiden name, sitting over there, and just felt like she should come put her arms around me. I didn't know that she also had found Jesus as her rescuer just a few months prior. But in one night, my entire life changed. God took me out of a story that was full of pain and me making a mess of things, and He led me into something that has been beyond what I could ask or imagine, into something beautiful. And I promise you that if you will grab hold of His hand, if you will seek Him and let Him rescue you, He has a beautiful story for you as well.